Have you ever paused to consider the staggering words of Isaiah 9, 5, and 6? The prophet describes a child who would be born, coming in the most human way possible. A son who would be called Mighty God and Everlasting Father. What could this possibly mean? Isaiah 9, 5 says, "For to us a child is born. A son will be given to us, and the government will be upon his shoulder. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, My Father of Eternity, or Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." The emphasis here is not on what the child will do when he grows up, but on the mere fact of his birth. For unto us a child is born. Messiah has come. That's what matters most. He will accomplish that which he has come to do. Some rabbis and biblical scholars have suggested that the child of Isaiah 9 is Hezekiah, King Ahaz's son. But this description clearly transcends the historical person of Hezekiah. The language makes it clear that no ordinary human king is being spoken of. These titles go far beyond anything ever said of any other figure in Jewish history. First, the child is called Wonderful Counselor, Pele Yoetz. In Hebrew, the word wonderful isn't used casually the way we use it. That show was wonderful. No, it means extraordinary, full of wonder. It's a phrase that is used almost exclusively to describe the acts of God. He alone is the one who does wonders. Then this child will be called El Gibor, Mighty God. That phrase is used elsewhere in Isaiah in chapter 10, verse 21 to describe the God of Israel himself. You think about that. This child, this son, would somehow embody the might and power of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Could this refer to an ordinary human king? What normal king of Israel could say, "I am El Gibor, Mighty God"? Isaiah points to something much greater, someone much greater. Then Isaiah calls him Aviad, Everlasting Father, which literally means Father of Eternity. This child is not only connected to eternity, but he is its very source. He is described as eternal, not bound by time, but the one who holds it himself in his hands. He cannot just be an ordinary earthly ruler. And what about Prince of Peace, Sar Shalom? The Messiah would bring the ultimate shalom, not just the absence of conflict, but restoration, wholeness, reconciliation with God. Isn't this the hope of all Israel, that Messiah would bring true and lasting peace to the world? Isaiah 9:6 goes on to say, "Of the increase of his government and shalom there will be no end on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and uphold it through justice and righteousness from now until forevermore. The zeal of Adonai Tzevaot will accomplish this." There's no end to his reign. He will reign on the throne of David from then on and forevermore. How can that apply to a mere man? And if it were referring to Hezekiah and there's no longer a king on the throne of Israel, the question could be asked about the legitimacy of Isaiah as a true prophet. But this child to be born would be God with us. Mighty God. He is a divine king. And this divine king, this divine ruler, comes to us in the most human way, doesn't he? In this passage, the Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, doesn't just appear. He doesn't descend from the heavens in a spectacular display. He doesn't show up in fire or cloud or in a bush or even in a still small voice. He doesn't thunder from heaven, nor does he come as a mighty warrior on a horse. Not yet. How does he come? In the most human way. For unto us a child is born. Why? Why would this child be born? Because of God's zeal, because of his ardent love for you, to save you and me. Could it be possibly that Yeshua is the one foretold by the prophets, the one who brings the light of God into our world? Take time to explore the scriptures and ask God to reveal his truth to you. The promise of the Messiah is for all of Israel and for all the nations, bringing eternal peace through the Prince of Peace. In Matthew chapter 1, it says, "She will give birth to a son, and you will call his name Yeshua, for he will save, he will Yeshua, his people from their sins." It goes on to say, "Now all this took place to fulfill what was spoken by Adonai through the prophet, saying, Behold, the virgin shall conceive and give birth to a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which means God with us. He was born to die. He was born to carry our sins. He was born to be the once and for all Yom Kippur sacrifice, the once and for all atonement for our sins. He was born that we might have life. That's why. That's what this season is all about. To set aside a time, anytime, whenever you'd like, to celebrate the coming of the Messiah. Born is the King of Israel, the hope of all nations. Call on him today.